The sleek black Tesla pulled up to the secluded cabin in the redwood forests of Northern California just as the sun was setting. Elon Musk stepped out, checking his watch with slight irritation. He'd been summoned here for what his assistant had described as an urgent private meeting with potential high-value investors interested in both SpaceX and environmental initiatives. It wasn't unusual for wealthy backers to request discreet meetings in unusual locations, especially those with environmental concerns about his companies. The cabin, though remote, appeared modern and well-maintained. No other vehicles were visible, which struck Musk as odd, but he assumed they might have been parked elsewhere for privacy. As he approached the entrance, the door swung open before he could knock. "Mr. Musk, thank you for coming. Please, step inside." The woman who greeted him was in her mid-30s, with an intense gaze and an air of quiet authority. Nothing about her appearance suggested anything amiss. She was dressed professionally in sustainable-looking business attire, her demeanor calm and collected. The interior of the cabin was surprisingly spacious and appointed with minimalist furniture. 3 other people were already seated in the main room, 2 men and another woman, all approximately the same age as his greeter, all with the same composed, serious demeanor. "Where are the others?" Musk asked, expecting to meet a group of investors. "There are no others," said one of the men, standing up. "We apologize for the deception, but we knew you wouldn't come otherwise." It was at that moment Musk noticed something that sent a chill down his spine. The windows, which had appeared normal from outside, were reinforced. The door behind him closed with an ominous click. "What is this?" he demanded, reaching for his phone. "Your phone won't work here," said the first woman calmly. "Signal jammers. Don't worry, you'll get it back. We just need you to listen." "You realize this is kidnapping," Musk said, his voice steady despite the sudden surge of adrenaline. "We prefer to think of it as an environmental intervention," replied the second man, who had remained seated. "I'm Dr. Marcus Reed, astrophysicist. This is Dr. Elena Vasquez, aerospace engineer, Dr. Sanjay Mehta, environmental systems specialist, and Dr. Leila Chen, material scientist. We're all former NASA," Elena added, "and we need 24 hours of your time." "For what possible reason would I give you 24 seconds after this stunt?" Musk responded, anger now evident in his voice. Marcus held up a tablet displaying complex technical schematics. "Because we've solved your space debris problem, and several others you haven't even acknowledged yet." Despite his situation, Musk couldn't help but glance at the screen. What he saw made him pause. The designs weren't amateur work. They were sophisticated, innovative, and addressed several challenges that his SpaceX teams had been grappling with for months. "You could have emailed this," he said, but his tone had shifted slightly. "We've tried." "For 3 years," Leila said. "Emails, proposals through proper channels, applications to your innovation contests. We've been systematically ignored or dismissed." "So you decided kidnapping was the logical next step?" Musk asked incredulously. "Desperate times," Sanjay shrugged. "The space industry is at a critical juncture. Your companies are leading the charge into a new era of space utilization, but the environmental protocols are dangerously insufficient. We're scientists first, activists second. We've spent 5 years developing a comprehensive system that could transform how SpaceX operates, making it truly sustainable. And if I refuse to listen, then in 24 hours, we release you unharmed, and you'll never hear from us again," Elena said simply. "But we're betting that once you see what we've developed, you won't want to leave." It was a bizarre situation, but Musk had encountered his fair share of unusual circumstances in his career. These weren't random eco-terrorists. They were clearly educated professionals who had gone to extreme lengths for this meeting. And despite himself, he was curious. "I'll give you 1 hour," he said finally. "Show me something worthwhile in that time, and maybe I'll consider staying for the rest." Marcus smiled for the first time. "That's all we ask." What followed was unlike any presentation Musk had ever experienced. The four scientists had transformed the cabin's living room into an immersive technical workshop. One wall was covered with screens displaying simulations, environmental models, and technical drawings. A large table held physical prototypes and material samples. They began with their most attention-grabbing innovation, a fully biodegradable satellite deployment system. Standard practice involved components that either remained in orbit as debris or burned up in the atmosphere, contributing to pollution and waste. Their design used revolutionary biomaterials that would harmlessly degrade after a predetermined period. The polymers are derived from engineered fungi, Layla explained, handing Musk a sample that looked like conventional aerospace-grade material, but was fundamentally different at a molecular level. They maintain structural integrity in the vacuum of space, but begin a controlled decomposition process when exposed to specific wavelengths of solar radiation that we can trigger remotely at end of life. Musk examined the material skeptically. The tensile strength couldn't possibly. It's 23% stronger than your current composites, she interrupted. We've tested it extensively in simulated space conditions. The first hour turned into 2, then 3. Despite his initial anger and skepticism, Musk found himself increasingly engaged. These weren't just incremental improvements. They were paradigm shifts in how space missions could be designed with environmental considerations at the forefront. By midnight, they were huddled around the main table, deep in technical discussions about rocket fuel alternatives. Sanjay had developed a propulsion system that produced zero toxic byproducts, using a catalytic process that had eluded mainstream researchers. The efficiency ratio is the real breakthrough, he explained, pulling up comparative data. Previous clean alternatives sacrifice too much power. This gives you 97% of the thrust with none of the environmental impact. Musk, who had initially been texting his security team under the table to track his location, despite the jammers, he had backup systems, now found himself fully absorbed in the technical challenges. He hadn't thought about his captivity for hours. Around 3 a.m., they moved to the topic that had been the most contentious between environmentalists and space companies: orbital debris. SpaceX's Starlink satellite constellation had been criticized for contributing to space junk and interfering with astronomical observations. We've completely reimagined satellite design philosophy, Marcus said, showing Musk holographic projections of their alternative system. Instead of launching thousands of individual units, our network uses fewer, more sophisticated hubs with biodegradable relay nodes. The entire system is designed for zero end-of-life waste. As dawn approached, the conversation shifted from technical details to broader implications. Elena brought out coffee as they discussed the philosophical dimensions of sustainable space. Exploration, the problem with the current approach to space, she said, is that it replicates the same extractive mindset that's damaged Earth. We're treating space as another resource to exploit, rather than an environment to coexist with. Space is a vacuum, Musk countered. It's not a living ecosystem like Earth. Not yet, she replied. But our activities are already changing it. Orbital debris, chemical contamination from propellants, potential biological contamination of other worlds. We're altering environments we barely understand. By morning, the group dynamic had transformed completely. What had begun as a hostage situation had evolved into an intense collaborative workshop. Musk, despite his initial outrage, found himself engaged in the most stimulating technical discussion he'd had in years. These weren't just activists with complaints. They were brilliant scientists with viable solutions. Why go to these extremes? Musk asked finally, as they took a break for breakfast. Why not continue trying through normal channels? Marcus looked at him seriously. Because the window for getting this right is closing. Humanity is at the beginning of a massive expansion into space. The protocols and technologies we establish now will set precedents for centuries. If we start with sustainability as an afterthought, it will always remain one. And you thought kidnapping me would be persuasive? Musk raised an eyebrow. We thought giving you uninterrupted time with these ideas, away from corporate filters. And yes, men would let you see their value, Layla replied. Was it extreme? Yes. Necessary? We believed so. As the 24-hour mark approached, tension returned to the room. The scientists had presented their complete vision, a comprehensive reimagining of SpaceX's approach to space access and utilization, centered on true environmental sustainability without compromising the company's goals. Your time is up, Musk said, checking his watch. And technically you're still holding me against my will. Elena nodded, opening the front door. You're free to go. Your car is where you left it. We won't contact you again. Musk stood, gathering the notes he had taken throughout the marathon session. He walked to the door, then paused. You realize I could have you all arrested, he said. We're aware of the risk, Marcus replied. This information was worth it. Musk was silent for a moment then. I want you all at SpaceX headquarters on Monday. Morning? The four scientists exchanged confused glances. Not as employees, Musk clarified. As consultants, with full access to our current environmental protocols and systems. If your solutions work at scale, and that's still a big if, we'll implement them. But pull anything like this again, and the deal's off. 3 weeks later, SpaceX made a surprise announcement that sent shockwaves through both the aerospace industry and environmental community. The company unveiled its Zero Impact Initiative, a fundamental redesign of its approach to space technology focused on complete environmental sustainability, both in Earth's atmosphere and orbit. At the press conference, Musk introduced his 4 new environmental consultants, referring to them only as former NASA scientists who had developed breakthrough technologies, and announced the establishment of a new division focused exclusively on space sustainability. We've always viewed space as humanity's next frontier, Musk told the assembled press. But frontiers need stewards, not just explorers. With these innovations, SpaceX will not only reach Mars, but will do so while establishing a new standard for environmental responsibility in space. Industry observers were baffled by the sudden shift. Competitors scrambled to understand how SpaceX had developed these technologies seemingly overnight. Environmental groups, initially skeptical, were won over as the first practical implementations demonstrated genuine commitment to the new approach. Within a year, the zero-impact designs had been incorporated into every aspect of SpaceX operations. The new biodegradable satellites deployed successfully, the clean propellant system exceeded performance expectations, and orbital debris from the company's activities dropped to nearly zero. The financial markets responded enthusiastically. SpaceX's valuations soared as the company secured exclusive patents on technologies that would soon become industry standard. What had begun as an environmental initiative quickly proved to be a competitive advantage as well. As for the 4 scientists, their relationship with Musk evolved into a complex but productive collaboration. They never publicly discussed the unusual circumstances of their first meeting, though rumors occasionally circulated about the bizarre 24-hour session that had transformed SpaceX's trajectory. 5 years later, as the first zero-impact mission to Mars prepared for launch, a journalist asked Musk about the catalyst for the company's environmental revolution. Sometimes, he replied with the hint of a smile, the most productive meetings are the ones you can't walk out of. The unconventional encounter, part kidnapping, part intervention, part marathon brainstorming session, had indeed transformed SpaceX forever. What began as a desperate act by passionate scientists became the foundation for a new philosophy of space utilization that would influence humanity's expansion into the solar system for generations to come. And when asked whether he regretted the extreme measures they had taken to get Musk's attention, Marcus Reed, now SpaceX's chief sustainability officer, would simply answer, "In the battle between conventional methods and saving our future in space, convention never stood a chance." Have you ever had a conversation that completely changed your perspective on something important, or met someone who challenged your thinking in ways you never expected? Share your story in the comments below. If this unexpected encounter between Elon Musk and environmental scientists resonated with you. Don't forget to subscribe to Impact Stories for more powerful moments that changed lives forever. We bring you new, meticulously researched stories every week that reveal the hidden turning points that have shaped our world. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming story about how Jeff Bezos discovered a mathematical formula, written by a warehouse janitor that revolutionized Amazon's entire business model. Remember, sometimes the most transformative ideas come from unexpected sources and challenging circumstances. See you in our next Impact Story.